has always been about star talent. More than that, you can look back into the history of the league's greatest championship-winning teams and see that you can often pick out a team's big three players. Take a few groups as examples. From the 1990 Chicago Bulls with Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, and Dennis Rodman, to the 2000s Boston Celtics with Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, and Ray Allen, to perhaps the most famous big three in the Miami Heat with LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh. Now, when evaluating championship contenders in the current season, it's fair to look at the big 3's in the league and try to pick out the best. And that is exactly what we are going to do. But before we get into it, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any new content. Number 10, Grizzlies, Morant, JJJ, Bane. The first team on our list may come as a little bit of a surprise, but the Grizzlies have been a surprise to many teams around the league, and we can't leave them off the list. Of course, Jay Morant is the star of the group as he has breathed life into the Memphis franchise as they transition out of the grit and grind era. Morant has averaged nearly 25 points per game with excellent efficiency this season and continues to develop his defensive abilities. In addition, the Grizzlies have several other young players in their developing core in Jaren Jackson Jr., aka Triple J, and Desmond Bane. While both are still growing, Triple J has already shown the ability to be an interior presence, while Bane has been one of the league's best three-point shooters. With all three of these players under 23 years old, the Grizzlies core will likely be shooting up this list in the years to come. Number 9, Heat, Butler, Adebayo, Lowry. The Heat's core exemplifies what Pat Riley's team-building strategy has always been: get tough, gritty players who can compete on both ends of the floor. Between Jimmy Butler, Kyle Lowry, and Bam Adebayo, the Heat have one of the best defensive big threes in the NBA and are able to lock up star players on the perimeter, on the wing, and in the interior. Lowry, a free agent addition to Miami in 2021, has championship experience during his time with the Toronto Raptors, while Butler and Adebayo have extensive playoff experience from their 2020 finals run in the Orlando bubble. This year, Butler has struggled a little bit relative to his typical scoring standard, and Adebayo has missed some time with a thumb injury. But that doesn't change the fact that nobody wants to face this tough big three of the Miami Heat. Number 8, Jazz, Mitchell, Conley, Gobert. Utah Jazz fans might feel a little disrespected by this ranking. I mean, after all, their offense has been historically great this season, and the team is still near the top of the Western Conference. However, the knock on this core has been their lack of playoff success, given that they are a couple of years in. Now, with that being said, the Jazz core is still really good. The Jazz are headlined by superstar Donovan "Spida" Mitchell, who is averaging 25.5 points per game. In addition to Mitchell's prolific scoring output, the Jazz feature one of the NBA's best interior players in Rudy Gobert. Gobert is an awesome rebounder, averaging 15 rebounds per game, as well as an excellent defender. Mike Conley adds a veteran presence as a point guard, bringing great playmaking ability as well as being a secondary scorer. The Jazz may still reach the playoff success that has proven to be so elusive for them in the past. Number 7, Clippers, Kawhi, PG-13, Jackson. The Clippers are another team that could potentially be higher, but they're not currently at full strength. Both Kawhi Leonard and Paul George could definitely be considered top 20 NBA players when healthy, as Kawhi has 2 Finals MVP awards under his belt, and PG-13 has an NBA MVP award to his name. However, Kawhi has been out with injury since injuring his knee during the 2021 playoffs and may not be back at all this season. George has also missed some time in the 2021-2022 season with injuries, but when the two are together, the Clippers may have championship potential. The other issue with the Clippers is that their third big three player, Reggie Jackson, isn't on the same level as Kawhi and PG-13. He is a solid secondary scorer, but is not especially efficient from the field or a top playmaker from the point. So, the Clippers have great potential from their top 2 players when healthy, but are ranked a little lower on this list. Number 6, Nuggets, Jokic, Murray, Porter. The Nuggets are another team that sees their ranking be affected by injury. Jamal Murray, who is a stud scorer from the point guard position, tore his ACL in April 2021 and may not be back at all this season. Meanwhile, young wing player Michael Porter Jr. might miss the remainder of the 2021-2022 NBA season with a recurring back injury. Now, when they have been healthy, Porter and Murray form a formidable group, especially alongside Nikola Jokic. Jokic is arguably the best player in the NBA as he has put up preposterous stats this season with very limited support from the rest of the Nuggets with Porter and Murray out. His averages of nearly 26 points, 14 rebounds, and 7 assists are MVP caliber numbers, Now all the star Serbian center needs is for his supporting cast to return to Denver to reach their potential. Number 5. Suns, CP3, Booker, Ayton. Here's the spot where ranking the top big threes starts to get a little more difficult. The NBA's top teams unsurprisingly have some of the league's best players. Take the Phoenix Suns, the Western Conference champions from last season. The Suns are led by veteran point guard Chris Paul, whose crafty playstyle hides some deceptively great numbers. Paul has averaged a double-double this year between his signature mid-range game and his playmaking ability. Alongside Paul is Devin Booker, who is the primary scorer for the Suns and a rising star throughout the league, thanks to his white-hot shooting stroke from downtown and his Kobe-like intensity for the game. DeAndre Ayton rounds out the Suns' big three as a high-percentage scorer inside and an excellent rebounder. This Suns core has already shown the ability to play well in both the regular season and the playoffs, but can they pay it off with an NBA championship? Number 4. Lakers, LeBron, AD, Westbrook. The Lakers are one of the most talked about teams in the NBA, and for good reason. They feature a big three that should have been one of the league's best on paper, but they just haven't gelled much in their current iteration. Yes, Davis and LeBron won a title in the 2020 NBA bubble, but since then, LA has struggled to reach the high expectation that many around the league have set for them. Both LeBron and AD have missed significant time this year with injuries, while Westbrook has been wildly inconsistent and has been historically poor with turning over the ball. LeBron has still been awesome this year, putting up surefire all-star numbers, but the fact of the matter is that his two running mates haven't been up to the task to put this core into the upper echelon. In fact, they haven't even been good enough to get the game into a good playoff position, but that could all change with some health and more consistent play. Number 3. Bucks, Giannis, Middleton, Holiday. The Bucks are the reigning NBA champions coming off of their title win in 2021. On top of that, they have a superstar to lead their team in the Greek freak Giannis Antetokounmpo. With 2 NBA MVP awards and a Finals MVP award already up on his mantle, Giannis just keeps showing signs of improvement as an outside shooter, while maintaining his ability as a dominant presence both in transition and in the interior. It wasn't just Giannis though. His 2 main running mates, Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday, were both key parts of the Bucks' playoff run. Middleton is a sneaky good scorer who has flashed his abilities in the biggest moments, such as several playoff runs last season when Giannis was sidelined by injury. Meanwhile, Holiday is one of the game's most feared perimeter defenders who can take away the opposition's biggest threats. Combined, Milwaukee truly has a well-balanced big three with a championship pedigree. Number 2. Warriors, Curry, Thompson, Green. But when you say championship pedigree, you should immediately think of the Golden State Warriors. While 2 of their recent titles came with one other key player in Kevin Durant, the Warriors' core has proven this season that their title season prior to Durant's arrival was no fluke. Steph Curry, now confirmed as the NBA's all-time three-point shooting leader and probably the greatest shooter of all time, has played at a very high level again this season. Curry is averaging over 26 points per game to go along with good numbers as a rebounder, playmaker, and defender. Green, meanwhile, has played at a Defensive Player of the Year level while being the brains on the court who makes the Warriors' unconventional style work. Klay Thompson just got back from several long bouts of injury and is still getting back into the swing of things. However, that doesn't reduce his status much, given that he has proven his clutch scoring and defensive abilities again and again, especially on the league's highest stages. The Warriors truly have a championship-caliber big three that has proven their mettle. Number 1. Nets, Durant, Harden, Irving. It really can't be any team but the Brooklyn Nets at the top of this list. Featuring the aforementioned Durant, James Harden, and Kyrie Irving, the Nets have a big three with all 3 players who are in the top 20, if not top 15, of the entire league. Durant, a freak athlete with unstoppable scoring ability and size, as well as 2 titles and an MVP to his name, may still be the best basketball player in the world. Harden has an MVP as well and is in the top tier as an isolation player and scorer in the history of the game. Irving is a dazzling player to watch with unmatched acrobatics, as a finisher to go along with great playmaking and outside shooting abilities. When they are together, it seems impossible that they could be stopped. But the problem so far has just been being together. Both Harden and Durant have missed time due to injury during their Nets careers, while Kyrie is only a part-time player this season due to a high-profile vaccine controversy. But at full strength, it is hard to imagine any team competing with the star-studded big three of the Brooklyn Nets. Now, there were certainly some tough omissions from this list. The 76ers missed out due to an ongoing holdout from key player Ben Simmons, while the Trailblazers missed out due to an injured and aging core that may be broken up soon. But perhaps the most difficult team to leave out is the Chicago Bulls, who have surprised with their great Eastern Conference performance this year. However, the Bulls don't possess an obvious big three and are just a great team in general. But this list is far from definitive, as we want to hear from the fans, so let us know in the comments if you think that we got it right with this list, or tell us how we should switch things up or who maybe we missed. As always, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any new content. This has been our breakdown of the new top 10 big threes in the NBA in 2022.